Hi, my name is Tracy Wankner. I'm a horticulturist here at Rogers Gardens, and this is our Gardening 101 series, where we get the chance to talk to you about super basic things that everybody needs to know about gardening, but so many people are just too afraid to ask the question. So today's topic is going to be, what is wrong with my plant? Let's start with insects. There's generally two different types of insects that we can lump into categories. We've got the sucking insects and the chewing insects. The sucking insects are going to be aphids, mites, scale, and a plethora of other types. You'll often notice their presence on the leaves because of the sticky, shiny residue they leave behind. This can attract other pests, and it can also attract mold. So when you're looking at your leaves, if they're sticky or shiny, it's a pretty good indication that we've got a type of sucking insect. Once we've identified that we've got a sucking insect on our plant, we need to find a safe and effective organic product that will not damage any of the other beneficial insects that might be present in our garden. We can use an insecticidal, soap, or horticultural oil. When we spray these on the leaves, particularly in the later afternoon or when temperatures are lower, this will smother our problem and make it go away. Treating for chewing insects can be a little more challenging because you need to know which insect you're treating for. My best advice is to go out late in the afternoon and search around and see if you could figure out who your culprit is. Caterpillars and snails will hide in darker spaces during the day and come out at night to do all their damage. If you can start by removing weeds, dead plant debris, and webs, this will begin to remove their shelter, and it may actually help you find them. Hand picking them and removing them is going to be a very effective and easy solution. If you want a little bit more, now we can talk about treatments. Treating for caterpillars, you can use a solution with BT or spinosad in it. These are safe organic solutions, but you just want to make sure to apply them later in the evening when the bee activity is less. As you're removing insects, particularly caterpillars, keep in mind some of them may be beneficial to the plants. For example, in the case of the monarch caterpillar, it does great damage to the milkweed by eating all the leaves, but it does very little damage to anything else in your garden. So share your garden with this caterpillar, because the perk will be monarchs and butterflies everywhere. If you happen to find snails, I recommend introducing carnivorous snails or decollate snails into your garden. These will eat at your problem. Just about as fast as snails reproduce, these will eat them. Otherwise, if you want another different type of product, you can use one with iron phosphate in it. Powdery mildew and rust are a fungus. Preventatively, you can use a copper spray. Or if you already have the problem, to treat it, you can use a compost tea to coat the leaves. Think of this as a healthy shower for the plant. Or you can use a product to kill the fungus, like a neem oil. That'll be effective in treating the problem. A cultural mistake that might influence plant decline would be over or under watering, meaning it's actually you that's causing the problem. It's really important that plants get watered based on their individual needs. Sometimes we don't know that one wants less water than another, and we see results like yellowing leaves, either from overwatering or underwatering. And this is a good indication to us that we need to change our behavioral patterns. Sometimes cultural and environmental issues can overlap. In the case of powdery mildew, caused by excess moisture on the leaves, overhead watering, poor hand watering, and even June gloom are all contributing factors. Environmental effects on your plants can make you think something's wrong with your plant when, in all reality, it really isn't. Take a succulent, for example. Oftentimes you might notice that some leaves are super green and others are exhibiting a little bit more redness on the tips. That redness can be a sign of stress or perhaps less watering or more sun. It doesn't necessarily mean that the plant is not getting what it needs to survive. It's just exhibiting a little bit of different characteristics because the environment is different where it's planted. Other environmental damages that are really hard to consider are whether or not your neighbor is overwatering their lawn and it's coming into your yard and affecting your plants. Or the weather changes that we're experiencing can be another influence of environmental damages, that maybe a plant that used to get more shade because it was under a tree and the tree got removed, now that plant is getting a lot more sun and its environmental damage is going to be sunburn. So there's a lot of different environmental factors that can play a role in what's wrong with your plant. Thanks so much for joining us for this Gardening 101 series. As you can see now, there's many different things that could be wrong with your plant, some of which may seem wrong, but are actually beneficial. So if you have any additional questions, please come into Rogers and feel free to ask us whatever you need. Bring in a little plant sample and we'll get to the bottom of it for you. And stay tuned for more of the Gardening 101 series.